Good evening, everyone, and welcome into episode 8 of the Forge Podcast. My name is Ryan Messer. Uh, we've got a lot to get into, but we have transactions from the Birmingham Barons, along with a few interviews we were able to capture as well over the past week. We also had the one of the last homestands of the regular season. Taking on number one in the Southern League, the Tennessee Smokies. We also had a chance to be at the ribbon cutting for the Birmingham Legion's new training facility. And shout out to Trey from the Birmingham Legion for hooking us up with the Legion flag, as you can see behind us there. But also, we have to get into the match they had versus the Detroit City FC. Then we have to get into some Stallions news, as we had a couple things in the NFL, and we had a few things, some new familiar faces that wound up signing contracts with the UFL. And then we have to get into some Bulls transactions as well, as we're getting closer and closer to the start of the season. But we want to thank you guys for watching, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to your podcast. iHeart or Apple, who knows, whatever you're listening to or watching it on. But we also have to thank our sponsor, Blue Spring Living Water, who's continuously supporting us. Guys, it's still triple-digit highs, so make sure you guys are staying hydrated. And so many places have got the boil ordinances where you need to boil the water and make sure it's clean before you drink it. But you don't have to worry about that with Blue Spring Living Water, as they are locally sourced and locally minerally enriched. And guys, it's no hassle. It's delivered right to your door, or you can find it at your favorite grocer. So make sure you guys are staying hydrated with Blue Spring Living Water. And with that, this is episode 8 of the Forge Podcast. We're going to lead things off with the Birmingham Barons, who had a few transactions this past week, where on Tuesday we saw center fielder Kanan Smith-Njigba assigned to the Birmingham Barons from the ACL League of the White Sox. He previously had been with the Pirates. I think he had a little stint in the majors with the Pirates, if I'm not mistaken. But he is, if the last name sounds familiar, he is the brother of former Ohio State wide receiver and current Seattle Seahawk wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. So great to have him on. He's got a nice bat. He's good in the field as well. So all around great athlete. So great to have him on. On Wednesday, we saw that the Birmingham Barons wound up transferring the shortstop Taishi Nakawake to the developmental list. So wish him the best of luck there. As well as third baseman Nick Podkul was wound up being signed on Wednesday as well. So great to have him aboard. He did a few things this past week, helped us out with a couple wins there. On Thursday, Birmingham Barons unfortunately had to place third baseman DJ Gladney on a 7-day injured list for a hip injury. So wish him the best of luck and a quick recovery. On Friday, we found out the Birmingham Barons wound up activating catcher Juan Gonzalez. So great to have him available for that as well. On Thursday, we were able to catch up with a few of the Barons players before the game. First, we talked to Jason Matthews, who had a few things to say to us.
Thank you for taking the time, Jason. I'd just like to hear a little bit about your story, how you came from New Zealand, all that stuff, how you didn't play American baseball in high school even. So tell me how you got into the sport.
So it was like growing up, I played varsity softball and rugby basically my whole life till I was 17, and then picked up baseball just with it around family. My cousin introduced me to baseball in Australia. Played for maybe 3 months. I thought it was okay. I didn't really like it. It wasn't really a family environment at first, but then went back to New Zealand, played for a little bit, and then I got offered to go to America to play JUCO baseball. And then I was learning, flew around the world, like flew to Europe, the Netherlands, went to an academy there for 3 months, learned how to play. Flew to Australia for a month, learned how to play there, and then went from JUCO to there. But basically, it was just the opportunity that came to me, and I just took it and ran with it. Not much baseball experience, just went with how my athleticism, and then that took me the whole way, and being a sponge, being able to learn and take all the information that I can and apply it to my game and run with it to where I am today.
Awesome, appreciate it. What's it like? Is there much of a cultural difference from coming from New Zealand, coming here to even here in Alabama?
Yeah, the American lifestyle is a lot faster than New Zealand is. New Zealand is more laid back, family oriented, and everything you do is just family, relaxed. But in here, everything's just everybody wants to go, go, go. Every day you got to do something. Every day you got to figure out something that can make you better as a person and as an athlete. That's probably been the biggest adjustment from when I first got here, but now I'm able to apply everything that I've learned throughout the years and put it in baseball and in the real world. So it's helped me a lot.
Awesome. So being here with the team for a while now, what's it? What have you seen the past few weeks? The past couple of weeks. It's actually changed within the past, like changed y'all's trajectory as far as actually winning games.
Well, we're just all adjusting to having you guys around us. And in the first half, we had a good group of guys, a lot of top prospects that really elevated the game for us on the mound specifically. And then had a few guys in the field that helped us win the first half. But mainly it was the pitching staff that could go pitch a really good game throughout like 7 innings. And now they've got a bunch of new guys. We're all trying to group together again like we were in the first half. And the last few weeks have been really good for us, just communicating and everybody being on the same page, which has been really good. And we're playing team baseball, winning baseball.
What's Sergio been saying to you guys going into this last leg of the regular season, trying to get ready for the playoffs?
Just play as a team, keep our head high, and never look back, and just learn from all your failures from that day, and then work on it the next day. Always stay positive and never keep our head down, because we won the first half and we're trying to get ready to play for the playoffs. So we want to start. We want to continue to win, but also learn and get better and hopefully make it to the majors.
Then we had a chance to talk to Terrell Tatum, who's actually been with the team the entirety of the year. So he's actually seen the ebbs and flows of what's been going on.
All right, Terrell, you've been with the team for quite a while now, all season long. What have you seen the past couple weeks that's helped this team, that's changed the trajectory of this team?
I don't really think that anything's really changed. I think the team's we've kept the same identity for the most of the year. Is just go out there and play as hard as we can and try to win the game, play to win.
I've noticed you guys have been gelling a lot better lately, but what's the main focal point with the entire team going into this last leg of the regular season?
Well, it's late in the year. Guys are tired. You just try to do what you can every day to make sure your body's ready to play and go out there and control what you control, and that's the most important thing is effort.
You've been hitting pretty hot lately. Been pretty on point. Getting some RBIs in, stuff like that. What's been the best part of this season so far? Your favorite, your most memorable part of this season so far?
Honestly, my most memorable for me, it was actually a game I didn't get to play in. We were down 7 going into the 9th, and we ended up coming back and walking it off here for the 4th of July night. So that was really one of the most special nights that I've been a part of. It was really cool.
Awesome. What do you got to say for all the fans that are out here that come out here and watch you guys throughout the season, support you guys?
I hope that when you guys show up, that you see that we're giving our best effort every night to give you guys to make sure that you guys are entertained when we see us step out on the field.
Last thing, you've seen a bunch of the guys that you started playing with in the spring move up to Charlotte, and then a bunch of them even ended up in Chicago. What's that got to say about this farm team?
I think that
this farm system.
It speaks a lot to the coaches that they have here. Those guys they work really hard and they do their best to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a good position and trying to get better each and every day and go out there and give our best effort every time we can.
Appreciate it, Terrell.
No problem.
Lastly, we talked to the newcomer of the group, DJ Gladney, and see what he had to say about what's been going on this season.
Appreciate this opportunity here. What's it like being back here in Birmingham? Being able to play with these guys, this team again, and just try to win out the rest of the season.
I mean, it's a great feeling to be back, Last time I was here was Project Birmingham. A lot of good things happened in that, and it just feels good to be back in the dugout, seeing some familiar faces, staff. So just a great feeling to be back.
You guys since you've been back, you guys have been winning some really good games, and the games you've lost have been really close. So what do you think has to do with that, with you guys gelling the way you have?
I mean, I honestly think it starts in the clubhouse. I mean, you walk in, the first day I got here, it was just team chemistry was unbelievable. You got staff members just talking to teammates. It was unbelievable. And I think that's a big part of why Birmingham has been winning a lot. So I would definitely say the clubhouse is definitely where it's at. And the guys, everybody wants to win. Even staff, coaches, everybody's playing to win. So
awesome. So what are you excited for most coming back to Birmingham here?
Competition. Excited to see how I go against different competition. I've been low A, high A, and I'm just excited to see what I can showcase up here.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
But it's been great to talk to those guys, and even greater to see this homestand we had with the number 1 Tennessee Smokies. As they were trying to cut their lead, the Tennessee Smokies lead a little bit, trying to get ready for the playoffs. Because likely this will be the first team we see in these playoffs. So on Tuesday we saw Tennessee start things off with a single run in the top of the first. The Barons wound up answering back, though, with 2 of their own in the bottom of the third, with Jacob Gonzalez wound up bringing home Matt Hogan off of a sack bunt, and then Wilfred Veras wound up tripling to bring in Jason Matthews. That lead didn't last long, as Tennessee wound up getting a run in each of the following innings, and then Birmingham wound up making the comeback with Mario Camilletti bringing on home Matt Hogan off of a sac fly. And then we saw the Terrell Tatum getting the game-winning home run in the bottom of the 7th. So Just a great all-around game there. The finals were the Smokies with the 3 runs off of 9 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 10. The Barons had 4 hits. 4 runs off of 6 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 3. On Wednesday, we saw Barons wound up striking first and early, as we saw newcomer Caden Smith and Jigba hit the game's only run. It was a home run, but it was the game's only run, and that's all we saw the entire night. But I think it was the shortest game of the entire season, maybe even the entire MILB, but definitely all season for the Southern League. It was only an hour and 49 minutes, guys. That's one of the shortest games I've ever seen in a 9-inning game. So that was, I believe, that was the shortest 9 innings of the Southern League of this entire season. The finals for that game were Smokies with the no runs off of only 3 hits, which explains a lot. They wound up having no errors, but they stranded 6. The Barons had similar numbers, but the 1 run off of 3 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 2. So, really short night there. Wrap things up in an hour and 49 minutes. So, on Thursday, we saw Tennessee start things off early with a run in the top of the first and then 3 in the second. It started looking awful from the start. This game lasted forever. This made up for Wednesday night's game. Newcomer Nick Podkul wound up hitting a solo shot in the bottom of the 4th. And then Wilfred Veras wound up getting a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 5th, bringing in Hackenberg and Hogan in the process to tie the game. They remained tied for the duration of regulation. And then the Smokies wound up getting a run in the 10th. We wound up tying it up again as Mario Camilletti brought in Matt Hogan off of a double. And then in the 11th, the Smokies wound up scoring another run, and Jacob Gonzalez wound up singling to bring in Tyler Nesloni to tie it up again. But it all ended in the 12th, where the Smokies wound up scoring 2 runs in the top, but the Barons just could not answer back, so they wound up winning it of a score 8-6. The totals for this game were Smokies with the 8 runs off of 12 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 13. The Barons wound up having 6 runs off of 9 hits. There were no errors, but they stranded 9. On Friday, it was a highly defensive night for both teams through the start of the game. And the Smokies finally ended the stalemate with 2 runs in the top of the 7th. But that was all they could get because Barons really couldn't come up with many runs this game. The totals were hardly any hits this game. Totals were Tennessee with 2 runs off of 9 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 9 on that one. The Barons had no runs off of 3 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 3. On Saturday, we wound up seeing the Barons kick things off with Wilfred Veras hitting a 2-run homer to bring in Caden Smith and Jigba in the bottom of the 4th. And then they came back in the 5th, where Jason Matthews wound up hitting a 2-run homer himself to bring in Matt Hogan in the process. Tennessee wound up answering back in the top of the 6th with a run of their own, but Barons wound up scoring 3 more in the bottom of the 6th there. Adam Hackenberg bringing in or singling to bring in Varys. And then a fielding error resulted in Nick Podkul and Michael Turner coming on home. The Smokies were able to score one more in the top of the 7th, but it was just too much as Barons were able to hang on to the lead there. The Smokies had the 2 runs off of 3 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 7. The Barons for this game had the 7 runs off of 6 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 5. On Sunday, we wound up seeing the Barons getting things started off with 3 runs in the 2nd inning, as Jacob Gonzalez wound up singling to bring in Nick Podkul. And then a pass ball allowed Jacob Gonzalez to score, and a bases loaded walk for Kanan Smith and Jigba wound up allowing Michael Turner to score. Sacrifice grounder to first allowed Nick Podkul to score again. And then the Barons wound up holding the 4-0 lead throughout until a single run in the top of the 9th off of a sac fly. So really good game for the Barons there as well, winning the back-to-back series there. So in this game, it was the Barons really took advantage of some sloppy pitching from the Smokies there. So the totals for this game were Smokies with the 1 run off of 6 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 6. And then the Barons had the 4 runs off of 5 hits. There were 2 errors, and they stranded 12. Like I said, there was a lot of sloppy play from the mound from the Smokies in this game, but we capitalized on some of it. We really could have capitalized on more. As you can see, we stranded 12 guys there. Switching things over to the Birmingham Legion. The Birmingham Legion celebrated opening up their new training facility, which is going to double as a UAB physical therapy center as well. Patients will be able to work out with next to professional athletes, similar to what they do over at Andrews. But it's just steps away from their practice fields over in Dunavant Valley in Shelby County, right off of 280. So here's what Coach Tommy Sohn had to say about the facility.
What was your first impression seeing them so like the first time I did?
Well, we've been in and out of it, and so we saw it just get better and better as it got on. And obviously today's a big day, but once you open it up entirely and see all the landscape that takes place, and it's just a special place to call home.
You feel like you're moving up a little bit now, club-wise? You got a new facility here?
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, the last couple of years have been tough because we've been a bit nomadic, and having somewhere to call home like this and the quality of this place takes us to the upper step for sure.
What was it like just seeing the reaction of players being here interacting, just being part of this facility?
Yeah, I mean, it has all the things you need to be successful as a team. You got the weight room, you got the training facility. We got our video room, where we spend so much time evaluating ourselves. But it professionalizes things and it gives us somewhere where you're really happy to come to work.
How unique is it to have that tie with the community, not just for Birmingham Legion players, but also to have people around here?
Well, we said right from the beginning when we talked about this club, we want to be successful on the field, but we also have to be successful in the community. Having a place like this in the community of Shelby County, it's kind of a landmark. Especially stuff going across the street. And, it's a fantastic facility.
What's your favorite part about the facility?
I have an office. Like all around, I think when you think about things you want to have for a team, so that you feel like you have something special, from the video room to the training room to the showers to the whole package is it's what you expect a good team to have, and we're there now. So I'm really pleased.
Coach, what is it about this area that makes you think that this is a great home and a spot for Legion? Obviously, I know you know the area well, how you playing at State Park and everything. So, what is your personal thoughts on that?
Well, I'm starting with the fields. You know, we've been out here for a while, and there's a real coziness to getting on the fields and sitting in the mountains somewhat. So it's peaceful. So that's starting out. And there's some history here, you know, back when the first two fields were built. There's been a lot of teams out here. I believe they had Olympic events. So parlaying on that and us coming out here and eventually, you know, our men and women's team will be playing out here. I think it just adds something for Shelby County. That's something for us because it continues to be a fantastic soccer town. And, you know, we're taking the onus to make sure we can continue to improve that and grow it from the kids all the way up to our women's team, which we're really proud of. So.
But all of that excitement must have got to their head. But the Legion wound up having a short week as well, as they had to take on in-conference rivals Detroit City FC. The match was very chippy from the start on both sides, but ball control was definitely as an issue early. And in the 30th minute, Detroit was able to get downfield and get a goal. Coming out of halftime, ball security was even more of a struggle as emotions got even more tense. And there were some pretty questionable tackles, one of which led to Stefano Pino retaliating and earning a yellow card in stoppage time. And then even more emotions, even on the bench, as one of the coaches was shown a red card and had to leave the game. But even with that loss there, we are still standing at 10 wins, a 10, 9, and 5 record, and we are still 5th in the USL Championship Eastern Conference. So we do have a match this week, so against Pittsburgh. Hopefully we can take on the Riverhounds and get something positive going there. Switching things over to the Birmingham Bulls. We saw a few transactions transpire over the week. On Monday, goaltenders Austin Lotz and Hayden Stewart were both announced to be returning. And then on Wednesday, Bulls announced that defenseman Parker Allison was coming back as well. And Friday, they announced that the center Drake Glover is returning to the team. So great to see those guys coming back. Talking about transactions, switching things over to the Stallions. We saw some transactions occur this week where on Wednesday we saw cornerbacks Daniel Isom and Madre Harper resign with the Stallions. And then we saw running back CJ Marable come back as well, along with safety JoJo Tillery. Excited to see JoJo doing some flips this coming up season in 2025. We also saw tight end Marcus Baugh re-sign with the team, along with Marvin Wilson re-signing, along with offensive lineman O'Shea Dugas. On Thursday, we saw wide receiver Benjamin Victor re-sign with the team, along with Ryan Langen. He's been with the team since the start as well. And then Friday, we saw where Matt Corral was signed by the Minnesota Vikings. Unfortunately, we saw him kind of struggle a little bit. I know he gave up a safety, but hopefully they can find some room for him there and get some development going for him there. We also saw the Stallions re-sign punter Colby Wadman, so great to have him back. like chatting with them on the sidelines, Colby and Ryan Langen throughout the season. And then we saw them sign newcomer Trey Norwood, cornerback there. So excited to see what he's got to offer for this coming up season. And then we wound up seeing in the NFL, former Stallions place kicker Brandon Aubrey matching the NFL's record for the longest field goal with 66 yards over the weekend with the Cowboys. So shout out to Brandon Aubrey. Glad to see him having such great success there. I know elsewhere in the UFL, well, former NFL players, we saw Jake Bates with the former Michigan Panther staying in the same city and playing in the same arena, but he wound up taking on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, and he wound up hitting the game winner there as well. So, it wasn't the Kansas City Chiefs. That was I'm sorry, that was Brandon Aubrey, but he wound up hitting a game winner there as well. So, but in closing, we've got another big week for Birmingham sports as we have the second to the last homestand for the Birmingham Barons as they're taking on the Shuckers this week. And then we have the Birmingham Legion FC with a home match versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And then we will continue to bring you the latest as we get ready for both the Legion FC and the Birmingham Barons as they prepare for the postseason. And then as well as we're trying to get ready for the start of the Birmingham Squadron and the Birmingham Bulls as they're getting ready for camp. We're going to try to get into camp for both of those teams for you guys and see what we've got to do, what we've got to work with this upcoming season. And then, of course, with the Birmingham Stallions, we've got you covered. We've had you covered for 3 years for the Birmingham Stallions. So, as for this week, we'll see you guys next week. Good night.